going to say there's vast differences in terms of the age of some of the guys here when they had children. So obviously Ken, being 40, I think it certainly would play in his favour in terms of his patience and life experience as well. I think by the time Ken's having a child, Ken's achieved pretty much most what he wanted to in his career at that stage. A lot of travelling, a lot of time to establish a relationship with his wife. And so I think a lot of that would have helped. And I've seen it when I've obviously hung around Ken and Kobe and Lindley, that they're a tight-knit unit, and you can see that it's pretty comfortable. Whereas you look at perhaps my relationship, not that it's young, but I'm 24 when I had my first child, and the career at that stage was something I was very determined to achieve, to go as far as I could. And so I look back at moments like that where I was probably present doing breakfast radio. I was there most of the day, but probably wasn't there, if you get my drift. And so I regret those moments. In saying that, I was trying to achieve something that was not only good for myself, but for the family in the long run, perhaps. And never really got to do the traveling thing. And so I think and this is not for everybody, but in my case though, I found myself as a maybe an unsettled, anxious sort of father, if you get my drift. More of a I don't want to use the word bitter or things like that. It's just like those thought process, and I think it happen for a lot of people. It's like, I would never change it, but if I didn't have children, what if? What could have happened? I think a lot of people feel that, and then they feel guilty when they think that.
Absolutely, yeah. And
so, yeah. You're younger and you're highly sort of strung. You've got goals and stuff, and children, as brutal as you want to be, get in the way of that sometimes. So. I think certainly age has a lot to do with that when you're having children.
Yeah, I think that's a huge reality and often, and that's the great thing about these types of spaces. You feel comfortable enough to say the things that no one else would say at a dinner party, but you'd say it here because it's actually true. I feel like I've let go or had to let go or had no choice in the matter of not being able to do some things that I thought, when I was a teenager or whatever, my life dreams or whatever. And I think they're important to be able to share because in many ways, whilst it doesn't help you achieve those dreams, it helps you normalize the reality that that others share in that space. And when you realize, there's probably other people who've done that. There's probably hundreds of millions of fathers who that's been, the case for in the centuries of fathering, right? And whether it be some dude back in the Stone Age who really wanted to, knock that monolith out and fit it in front of his cave, compared to someone who wants to be a corporate high flyer and travel around.
Tim C, who wanted to do the gym thing and bulk like I am right now.
Exactly.
That's why I ducked out a couple of times and it was in the oven. I completely forgot about it.
What is that you're eating? Is that a platypus or something?
That's a chicken thigh, mate.
All right, nice.
I have about 12 I'll do today.
I've got a toasty here as well. It's pretty good. It's got some salami in it.
Oh, mate, that's
going to bulk me right up.
That's going to bulk.
I reckon, one of the common things is that you can't, if you're a committed father and you're saying, I'm going to be around for this and I'm going to stick at it, then it's always going to bring up those something in you. We talk about what is good about our kids, but it's always reflecting back on you. So if you're like what Steve was describing then about someone who's young and inexperienced, I don't know, maybe the impatience factor is going to be there. Maybe I don't know. I just reckon that it kind of fatherhood it pushes out and it exposes stuff that we just need to deal with.
Mm.
And if you want to be a good father, you're going to have to, at some stage, take ownership of your weaknesses, take ownership of your own flaws, so that you can be somewhat effective. And because we've all got that, but fatherhood and parenthood is one of those things that kind of brings all of that stuff to the surface. So yeah, and have you ever, like, because Steve mentioned about how, like, he had a career thing happening. Have you ever heard, like, some advice from someone saying, just don't let the child affect you, just, like, bring them into the normalness of your family. If it is, like, all about career and you're going, then just bring that in. Have you ever heard that? Because that always makes me laugh. Because I guess there's a balance to it. Like, you don't just throw everything out the window. But, like, some people say it as if it's like, you know, I'm on my path and I'm just going to go this way, and they are, you know, they're just going to learn what's normal. Have you guys ever had that advice?
Yeah.
It's funny.
I remember before there was a lot of people, remember, they're coming into your life. You're not coming into their life.
Yeah, like, heard that one. Yeah, midwives. First couple of words they said. It's just like, yeah, I mean, it's a valid point. You know, you were seeing, and it doesn't matter what career you're in, but you were seeing people in the same sort of level of what they were trying to achieve at that stage, maybe the same age. But they had all day, the whole day, went to bed whenever they want, ate when they want, and yet you're going home, you're changing nappies, and you're you know, wiping vomit off your shirt, and you're taking them to, you know, it's, yeah, I can see it, and people will be like, oh, it shouldn't affect you. No, of course not. I mean, my ex-co-host, I mean, between the two of us, in the 5 years we were doing shows in 4 different sort of cities, we had 3 newborns in that whole time come through. And so you're trying to do breakfast radio with 3 new babies. And you look at these other teams trying to achieve the same goal, and they had all the time in the world. So, yeah.
They're coming into your world, man. Don't let it affect you. I tell you what, they're coming into your world at 2 a.m. in the morning, waking up. That's how they're coming into your world.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And I think, yeah, it's nice to be able to share some of that stuff because, you know, it's the unintended consequences of the people's advice that they throw out off the back of a napkin as they wipe their mouth after a coffee and too much cake, and they storm off to do their thing, and they give you some flippant advice, and you're just like, what was that? Are you for real? You don't have any kids, do you? And it's just like, moment's gone, but you think and you reflect on that, and you think, man, some people have no idea. And I think, to be honest, that's the reason why we're doing what we're doing as an organisation, is because some people have no idea. And too many of us are hanging around with those people who have no idea, and it's not helpful for us. What is helpful for us is getting together, you know, who have shared the same experience and able to encourage each other and just go, hey, yeah, that sucks, man. Is there any way, you know, is there anything I can do? Or you know, he's like, and often the response is, no, I don't need to do anything. Actually, just sharing it's been really helpful. I've never said that, you know. I've been thinking about this for 6 weeks or 6 years, and I've just never shared that, and I haven't felt comfortable sharing it, you know, with my wife and my partner because it kind of impacts her. But here, I don't feel like I don't feel any problem in sharing it because it's not going to impact anyone. I think there's that kind of, I can't say the word, anonymity. Can someone say it for me?
Anonymity.
Thank you. Anonymity. What was it again?
Anonymity.
Got it. About that, you know, fathering experience when you're getting together as new dads, is that, yeah, I might see you next week at Dad's group. I might not, but either way, it's been nice to be able to share some of my problems. And my father actually always said, a problem shared is a problem halved, and so that's pretty much what we're doing. We're building groups to share our so-called problems, and they're not problems always, they're just sharing of experiences, but in sharing that, there's sometimes things behind it that are sitting as weight or burdens on our shoulders that we haven't even realised have been there for a lot longer than we think, and just by talking about it really helps. So, and having the framework of fatherhood as a topic is, as you can see, it's amazing. Like, look at everyone's just sharing, you know, some of the stuff. Maybe you guys would share a little bit more in your roles and stuff, but there's also, you know, you've got that capacity which is what I'm trying to encourage other dads to do, is by having the conversation, sharing your experience, you're actually inviting someone else who's not comfortable normally to share that experience, to partake in that. And that's where you extend from being someone who's just sharing their experience to actually significantly helping someone else. And that's why talking about this is really helpful, because, and I'll give you an example. A few weeks ago, one of the guys shared that the birth experience for him was traumatic. They just touched on it. He didn't go into any detail, and we're on a Zoom call a bit like this, and someone else, like, it just really resonated with them, and they said, "Oh, I'm really glad you said that, because I've been really struggling with, that birth experience since it happened a few weeks ago, and I haven't been able to talk to anyone about it. I didn't know that I was allowed to have this feeling." They actually said, "I didn't know I was allowed to have this feeling of trauma that are associated with birth, because my partner's been obviously through something more difficult." And whilst that's true, it doesn't mean that his experience was not valid. And I think that's where we're finding so much gold in this, is that we're validating and normalizing other people's experience in as much as they're able to work through that and then make steps to get better. And by doing that, they're becoming better fathers and better partners and better support, rather than just being held up in their cloud of, "I'm doing this alone, there's no support, and I don't get why I'm feeling so angry."